So, hello and welcome to the fresh episode of Dynamic CIO Talk Show. Today, I have with me a very special guest who will discuss about AI-based voice assistants. But before we go live with the questions, I would like to give a small background. So, when voice assistants began to emerge in 2011 with the introduction of Siri, no one could predict that this novelty would one day become a driver of a tech innovation of a sort. Companies like Amazon, Google, all are continuing to fuel this trend today as they compete for the market share. Voice interfaces are advancing at a very exponential rate across all industry verticals, be it healthcare, be it banking, insurance, and many others. Uh, it is because the companies are racing to realize their own voice technology integrations to keep pace with changing consumer demands. The key driver of this shift, however, towards the voice user interfaces is the changing behavior and the pattern of users. There is an increased awareness and high level of comfort and acceptance demonstrated especially by the millennial consumers. In this ever evolving digital world where speed, efficiency, and convenience are constantly being optimized, this technology sounds promising and is delivering results. And to discuss this today, pardon me, I have with me Sourabh Gupta. Sourabh is the co-founder and CEO of Vernacular.ai. Sourabh is an IIT Roorkee alumni and founded this company in 2016. It delivers a couple of products about which we will know in a short while. So welcome, Sourabh. Welcome to the talk show.
Thanks, Rahul. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so let me just begin by asking you what was the idea behind Vernacular.ai? How did the idea come to life? Spell out the journey in brief.
Sure. So Rahul, this is around 4 years ago. Me and my co-founder Akshay, we were both batchmates in Roorkee, and we decided to skip campus placements and come to Bangalore directly to startup. So we were sitting in Bangalore, and all we used to do was read about different startups starting up across the globe. We used to talk to people, attend events, etc. And one of these times, I think Geo had come into picture, right? And everyone was talking about the next billion people coming online. And we found that very intriguing, and we said, okay, fine, let's figure out who are these next billion people everyone is talking about. And to do that, we decided to travel to tier 3, tier 4 towns in India. And one of our visits was in Kanakpura, which is a few kilometers away from Bangalore. And we met a farmer there. The farmer told us that he receives, and we were just having a casual chit chat with the farmer, right? We didn't go there with an agenda in mind. But the farmer told us that he receives SMSs from banks in English, and he has to travel 10 kilometers away to a bank branch to get it translated. Right? In the process, he lost his daily wage. That came up as a big shocker to us. We realized that while everyone is talking about a billion people coming online, the first problem they're going to face is the language problem. More than 90% of India doesn't understand English. Over time, we did our own research. We realized most of this population is illiterate, or even if they are literate, they have a very hard time engaging with interfaces and keyboards online because they are not well versed with the scripts. So that's how we realized that voice is really going to be the future of human and machine interaction, right, for these billion people who are coming online. And the more we kind of went into it, the more it became our vision, right? So today our vision is to actually power voice for these billion people who are coming online, so that they can engage with businesses in their local languages, right? And what we've done now is created a very unique platform for this future. Right? What we've done in our platform is we can understand speech to text in local languages, text to speech in local languages. But what we've also done on top of that is, we believe that, Hindi is not Hindi. There are 20 different dialects of Hindi. How people speak Hindi in Bhojpuri, Bihar is very different from how people speak Hindi in Mumbai. Right? So we are building a platform for this future. On the monetization front, as of now, we are focused more on call centers. There, the hypothesis is, the probability of getting a cab in 5 minutes is much higher than getting connected to a call center agent in 5 minutes, right? So
I
what
would request you. I would request you not to spill more beans in the first question itself. I'm very intrigued, by the sheer premise that you had explained how the company came into being, how the thought actually was nurtured to get fructified. It's fascinating. So, you know, before I go into the nitty gritties of what Vernacular.ai does, I mean, what are the key trends that you have witnessed so far in the domain of AI based, voice based virtual assistants? As you said, this is more important than anything else in empowering today's next billion people on internet. So how does vernacular AI address some of these important business challenges for different types of industries?
Sure. So Rahul, what we are seeing is that the kind of solution we are building, this is inevitable, right? You yourself, you were giving examples of let's say Siri, and then there's Alexa. So we are seeing adoption of all of this anyway. We are probably heading towards a world of Google Glass and voice commands, right? A lot of interfaces will cease to exist over time, and enterprises are realizing how important it is for them also to adopt these kind of solutions. Uh, this is inevitable. This is the future. We were talking to enterprises. They were interested in automation. They were interested in using AI. But what happened is COVID, right? And all of a sudden, when enterprises were focused on 10 different things, now they only focus on one thing, which is automation. Automating their processes, automating things just to reduce their costs, because that's the prime focus after COVID. So from a purely trend perspective, we are seeing that enterprises across verticals, right? This is not just one specific vertical. Across verticals are either doing well post-COVID or are not doing well post-COVID. If they are doing well post-COVID, they need automation to scale up faster. If they are not doing well post-COVID, then they need automation to reduce their costs. So from a purely trend perspective, we are seeing good positive shift. Right, the deals we were planning to close later in the year, we've closed in last quarter. Every quarter we are beating our targets. We never expected to have so much revenue at this stage of the company, right? And yeah.
How big is the team? If we split the team, I mean, if we combine the split between the development team and the feet on the ground, which are going out to do business, how big is the team now?
Sure. So we are, Rahul, touching 100 by end of the year. Right now we are around 70, 75. And 80% of this team is development team. And 20% of our team is sales and marketing.
Great. So let me move on to a question that with which this whole interaction got set up. So banking and fintech are massive growth-oriented sectors where need for automation has been felt and also is very urgent. Um, you gave an example of how a farmer needs to go to a bank branch to decode the message that's in English. So how do you see the role of vernacular.ai in solving this puzzle and resolving the challenge? Do you have any specific solutions for this sector which you can mention?
Sure. So Rahul, in fact, banking and finance, BFSI is our primary focus from an organizational point of view, and that's primarily because this sector has both the length and breadth. And what I mean by that is there are a lot of enterprises in BFSI, and a lot of them are very large as well, right? And from a business perspective, it makes sense for us to invest heavily. And in terms of what we are doing or the use cases that we are seeing is, purely as of now, primary focus of Vernacular is call centers, right? Automating call centers. So just to set some context, call centers are probably one of the most boring and painful parts of running any business, right? High costs, high attrition rates. For end users, IVRs are frustrating. Wait times are very irritating, right? And all this is while enterprises are spending millions of dollars on call centers. Not like they're not spending, but it's never enough, right? And what we're doing is building a suite of voice products to automate a large part of what humans are doing on calls today, right? And the impact of our products is reduction in costs for business and improvement in experience for the end user, thereby increasing NPS for the enterprise, right? And some of the use cases that we are solving or powering for a lot of large enterprises in BFSI right now are, one is the inbound, call center, right? So as of today, if you are a large bank, you'll probably have a few thousand people, right, sitting and just supporting users with their query, right? That farmer is probably in another world trying to call the call center and trying to get his query answered, right? If the call center might or might not be supporting that language, right? That's a different issue. So what we're doing there is we integrate with telephony of a large enterprise, and we not just automate IVR but also the human part. So the experience for you is, you call a bank and we say, "Hi Rahul, welcome back to ABC Bank. How can I help you today?" Then you can say whatever you want in your local regional language, and we'll be able to respond to you within that. And that's a very powerful, impact that we are kind of creating in this domain. Having said that, what we are also seeing is unique use cases like pre-qualification of leads. With one large bank, we are they get thousands of leads for loan applications, and we are making outbound calls to people and qualifying those leads. Collections has become a big use case post COVID, right? A lot of banks, NBFCs, we're working very closely with them. In insurance companies, again, outbound is huge, right? Even during the application process, to ask people for data, ask people for document, etc. We are doing all those use cases.
Great. So let's talk about some of those products that Vernacular.ai has developed, and how do you go and scout for business with those products? I heard that you have recently implemented a solution at Axis Bank. If you can tell something about the products, and also what has been developed, what has been deployed at Axis Bank, that'll be nice.
Definitely, Rahul. Rahul's our flagship product is, what I described earlier. We call it Viva, which is Vernacular Intelligent Voice Assistant. And this voice assistant is deployed at Axis Bank, in fact. And you can, if you are a registered user of Axis Bank today, you can call Axis Bank and you will talk to Viva, right? And obviously, for Axis Bank, we call it AXA, right, which goes well with the branding. And you can call AXA today and you can get a query answered by AXA. AXA if AXA is trained to handle that query, it will do it on its own, but it can also transfer it to a human agent. If as a user you want, more human touch, your query is more complex, and those kind of things. Right. So this is our flagship product. We deploy it on the call center premise of a lot of these large enterprises, and Viva can talk to people, right? Be it an inbound call, be it an outbound call, Viva can talk to people and get the things done, right? And these things were earlier happening either on IVR or they were being handled by a human agent, right? And IVR was mostly frustrating people, right? So using this, we have reduced costs significantly and we've increased the customer satisfaction. This is the first product, which is flagship, and most of our revenues as of today coming from here. But we also have another product that we've launched recently, which is our voice analytics product. And what we're doing with that product is basically enabling enterprises to see how are their users feeling when they are calling, right? Are they frustrated? Are they happy when they are calling and they get frustrated in the end? What are the top reasons why your users are calling back? So we are giving a lot of these insights to enterprises so that they can go back and optimize their processes so that users don't have to call for very redundant things in the first place.
So I want to ask a slightly offbeat question, which I have not mentioned in my script. So there's always a debate that humans want to interact with humans, and beyond a point, an interaction with machine becomes not only cumbersome but also counterproductive. Uh, However intuitive or cognitive that machine is, however well fed that machine is with the data and ability to resolve queries. So how do you see envision the future? I mean, are we heading towards an entirely machine to human conversation, or where will this coexistence stay on?
Sure, sure. So Rahul, here's how we look at it, right? We believe it's a lot about context. What you said was that, people generally prefer not to talk to machines. I actually disagree with that. I think you would as well. If talking to a human is going to take 5 minutes of time, right? So there is that cost you are paying. You are calling a bank, but you are waiting 3 minutes on IVR, trying to press 1, 2, 3, 4, finding that nine button which you can press so that you get connected to an agent. Then there's a wait time. Post COVID, the wait time could be even up to 25 minutes. If you get lucky, the call is not disconnected after 15 minutes, and then you get to talk to an agent who might not be well trained, by the way. So even after you talk to an agent, the query might not get answered. On the other hand, now you have an option to get your query resolved within the first 20 seconds, right? So I think I would argue that in a lot of use cases, you would prefer to talk to a machine. That is what we are seeing with a lot of our users as well when we do our UX surveys. Having said that, I think humans are here to stay. Right? We don't envision a world where it will be 100% machine driven. Humans are here to stay. They just will be doing more complex things. Right? As of today, if you call some of the top banks in the country, the only way, by the way, the only way to change your registered address in some of the top banks is you calling, waiting for 15 minutes, and then agent telling you you can only change it from your internet banking, right? So you don't need a human for that. But if you have, there's been a fraud transaction, you definitely want to talk to a human. If there's a sales use case, you definitely want to talk to a human. Human will be able to sell and not a bot.
Oh, great. I think it's very convincing. So, lastly, just before we end the conversation, tell us about your future growth plans, and how would you like vernacular proliferate beyond certain obvious sectors like banking and all. Which other segments are you going to target? If there are some uh, real life examples already in works, we can discuss this better.
Sure, sure. So Rahul, so what happened for us was we were always focused on BFSI, and COVID happened. And then every company changed its strategy, and we also changed our strategy. And that was focus on every other vertical, right? Verticals that are doing well primarily. And these were some verticals like education technology companies, right? There were internet service providers. Now everyone was sitting at home; they wanted better internet packs, right? DTH companies, cable companies. Everyone sitting at home. They want to watch IPL, so they want to call their cable company and get that, right? So we started focusing a lot on that, and we've seen amazing traction. Overnight, we have seen for some of these companies, their call volume shot up by 2 to 3x, right? And when we went and pitched our product, there were a lot of synergies. So as of today, we are spread across 5 or 6 verticals. I would even like to share an example with you. We are not just working with companies that are doing well. Companies that are not doing well, they want to reduce their costs. Right? Now, if you are a travel company, you are an OTA, people are still calling you for cancellations, refunds, etc. We still want to automate things. So now we've become, from a more vertical focused company to a more horizontal company. We are seeing traction everywhere. In fact, we've recently started expanding outside India also. Right? So we are expanding to Southeast Asia and US, and very happy to share that in this last quarter, in fact, within September, we've closed deals in both Southeast Asia and US, which are our first deals, outside India. So across the world, I would say there's a whole wave of enterprises wanting to automate a lot of their processes.
That's great to know that you are expanding outside India as well. And with that, I would like to congratulate you once again, and wish you have many more successes like that. So thank you very much for talking to Dynamics CIO. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, Rahul. Thank you.